Good morning, good afternoon, depending on where you are. Great talking with you again. Just really wanted to share this screen with you. A lot of you, in fact, probably the majority of you know who we are and what we've been doing, and you've been subjected to my voice for over a year now. But just really wanted to recap in terms of where we're situated, where we are geographically, and really how this works in terms of our staffing and our Salesforce certifications and our standing within the Salesforce ecosystem. So we became a gold consulting partner this year, which we are incredibly excited about. We were a silver partner from 2013 leading up to that. We've completed hundreds of implementations along with integrations and data migration, custom development work around the world with Salesforce at our side, which has taught us really an awful lot in terms of different verticals and how businesses do things in different areas. So we're really excited to share that level of information with you and also with your customers to really give credibility in terms of how we go about the projects that we go about. Over and above this slide, we are also a managed partner with Salesforce, which basically means we have a direct line into Salesforce. We have great relationships with them, which really helps your customers when it comes to implementation and really understanding what the ecosystem looks like. We have, as I say, over 100 certifications, and actually one of our architects on team is one of only 7 in the world with their level of certification. So I feel comfortable in the knowledge that we are up to date, and we will be able to support you. Okay, so become an indispensable partner. So really what we're talking about here is that we understand through the Intelisys portfolio that people have had the opportunity to sell telecoms and telecom related products for a number of years. The addition of Canpango really allows you to elevate those conversations through different parts of the organization. So no longer are you solely talking to the IT department, you're talking to marketing, you're talking to sales, you're talking to the C-suite level, and business leaders, and we're helping you be that thought leader and that trusted advisor for your current customers by helping you to talk through different products and services. It's really going to make you guys sticky in terms of your customers and help provide, as I say, those additional services that they will be talking to somebody about. It might as well be you. So we're delighted to help you with those conversations. In terms of an engagement model, I know I've shared this information beforehand, but you own the customer relationship. We do not. We're not about to ride in and to try and work that customer in order to generate revenue. We want to stand next to you. We want to be an addition to your organization. We effectively want to be your Salesforce desk and help you to sell these additional services to your customer. We'll take the lead in terms of those technical conversations, but we encourage you to be a part of that process. So as we do more and more projects with you, and as we dive deeper into the Salesforce ecosystem for your customers, you're seeing this firsthand, which is helping you with your knowledge base. So Canpango is in the middle of this sandwich here, and we provide obviously the strategy around Salesforce, and the implementation and customization services of the products that your customers are acquiring. And we engage Salesforce where required, if it's net new business for your end customer, and manage the Salesforce process for you. Salesforce is a phenomenal machine when it comes to selling licenses, and we're there really to be in the middle to make sure that everybody is happy and everybody is moving forward at the pace that they would like to move forward and are not being driven through a deal process. So that's the engagement model. Really, the key thing, I think, is where we go in terms of compensation for you. So let's start by talking about what isn't included in the compensation model and how this differs to historically what you guys have done through the Intelisys channel. This is not a monthly recurring revenue model. It's compensation based on professional services on a project-by-project basis. Now that said, when we start looking at a classic to lightning migration, we will build a roadmap which will involve multiple phases, depending on the complexity of the customer. Those multiple phases will be invoiced on an ongoing basis. So although it's not a true monthly recurring model, there will be invoices coming your way over an extended period of time. Salesforce, unfortunately, does not offer any compensation on any new licenses. We don't receive compensation from them when we bring them into deals either. So there is no compensation on licenses or on the renewal revenue for existing Salesforce customers when they renew their licenses. That is unfortunately the way the process works, and there's no way around that. But the exciting thing is that you guys do get project-based fees, and obviously that revenue is evergreen. So when you bring a customer to us, every deal and every invoice that goes out to that customer, whether that's additional phased work or whether that's change orders or however that looks, is compensated directly back to you for the lifetime of that customer relationship. So that's where the exciting piece comes in. Whether you're in the room or not, when the deal is done, it's your revenue. That revenue is paid directly to Intelisys. We operate at a 20% commission rate to Intelisys. And I know everybody has a slightly different model in terms of what you recover from them, but I know that ranges probably between 75 and 90% of those fees come back to you guys. So a 100K project will generate a $20,000 Intelisys check, and obviously you will be looking at between $16,000 and $18,000 back off that as a rough example of how that would look. So without further ado, let's really get into the meat of this and start talking about where we are with the migration process from Classic to Lightning. And I'll hand over to Tom.
All right, Scott, thank you very much. And just by way of introduction, my name is Tom Martin, Senior Account Exec here at Canpango. I know looking briefly at the attendee list, I've worked with a few of you. I'm a more technical resource here as it pertains to scoping out the work and getting involved with the details of a Salesforce implementation project. So quite happy to be here today talking to you about this specific topic around a Classic to Lightning migration. All right, so what we've done here is to really start, to give you a little bit of a background, we pulled some text directly from the release notes from Salesforce themselves, and a couple of key components here. So first off, the future of Salesforce is Lightning, and moving forward, all innovations will be in Lightning. So what does this really mean? To take a step backwards, Salesforce itself has been around for 20 years. Up until about 4 years ago, there was a single standard user interface. 4 years ago, they introduced what they branded the Lightning user experience. And I just want to cover maybe a few misconceptions. This is not a separate code base. It's not a separate license. This is a single core product, and the Lightning experience is the user interface component of this. It is actually possible to mix Classic and Lightning within a single Salesforce environment. The overriding message, though, is Salesforce is headed in a single direction here, and the work that they are doing to enhance the product is now only being experienced through Lightning. So that is the key driver in some of these migration projects that we are currently seeing. And you know, for a long time now, Salesforce, because of their commitment to this Lightning experience, have really been nudging gently, I would say, their customers along. They are now to the point where any sort of new customer will not know what Classic is. They will have never seen it. And then starting this fall, they're really taking their first steps towards enforcing that Lightning experience. So we can see with their winter release, again, as a background, Salesforce releases 3 times a year. This is all SaaS cloud-based. There is no arduous upgrade experience here. All of our customers are on the same version. And so starting with the version called Winter 2020 for their fiscal year, which actually is this coming fall, they're going to be turning on the Lightning experience as a default for all Salesforce orgs. So what this means is that if the Lightning experience is enabled in that org, any user that logs in will automatically be seeing that. So this is sort of one step. It's another stake, I think, here that Salesforce is putting out in order to push all of their customers towards this Lightning experience. So for all of the customers that, again, have been using Salesforce for years, they're on the Classic experience. This is one more push in that direction, and it's really creating a lot of opportunity out there that we're seeing in the marketplace for customers that just simply need help. All right, we are being, we're seeing this all over. Salesforce themselves bringing us work, saying, "Hey, we've got current customers that need assistance moving towards that," and we see this as a really great opportunity for you all as you're talking to your customer base with Salesforce that will be going through these changes. All right, so what is really going to happen here? The point of this webinar is not to get too deep into the details here with you guys, is to kind of give you some talking points as again, you're out there with your customers that have Salesforce. So, there's a migration path, and there are current customizations in a Classic Salesforce org that will not translate gracefully to that Lightning experience. And this is really where we see those customers reaching out for assistance. So the bullet points you see here in terms of JavaScript buttons, Visualforce pages, applications that have been installed, and those applications or managed packages themselves are not optimized for Lightning, as well as content management. And what we mean by this is Salesforce Classic has a default way of storing attachments and notes that when we move to Lightning is now done in a much superior way, but that requires a migration. These are all instances or examples of items where customers are reaching out and saying, "Hey, we need some assistance with this. We realize that this is not simply pushing a button and everybody has a great new experience. This is a process. It's going to require some evaluation. It's going to require a change management strategy, as well as some technical components of migration." And this all boils down into really great projects that we can realize moving forward. So what do we do with this? We realize there are these opportunities out there. And again, a couple of bullet points that you could use as you're interacting with your customers. So Salesforce, again, highly motivated to get their customers to this new Lightning experience because, again, that's the future. That's where all of the investments are going to be made. So Salesforce themselves have made tools available that your customers or partners such as Canpango will use. There's something called a Lightning Readiness Report. So this is in the setup in an admin function within a Salesforce org. That will generate a report that gives us what we need to know in order to understand what this migration is going to entail. It really identifies some of those bullet points that we showed before in terms of any sort of challenge areas that need to be addressed for that migration. And then, of course, using our templates as a guide to talking to your customers, getting in contact with Scott right away when you've identified any potential Salesforce opportunities here, and taking advantage of our partnership with you as we can get involved and really make this a smooth process.
Yeah, so I do just want to add that we want to enable all of you quickly and as effectively as possible to have these conversations. So 2 things that you will be receiving almost immediately after today's webinar from Scott, so look for an email from him, is 1, we have an actual email template that you can copy and paste. You can obviously make it your own, but it has language. You can copy and paste that and send that out to your current clients. So that's a nice starting point. You can obviously use that as kind of a template for maybe, how you talk about this over the phone. The other thing that we have is a customer-facing data sheet essentially that provides more information to the customer, and it looks like it's, you know, written by you and from you, that you can attach. It's a well-designed PDF, and it also provides step-by-step instructions on how your customer can run the Lightning readiness report. So we're bringing kind of these action items from conception to actual execution for you, and that's something that Scott's going to be sending out. Scott?
Yeah, so just really wanted to thank Tom and Kathleen for their information here. There is an opportunity, and the opportunity is now for this. As we can see, come October, you know, the rubber's going to hit the road in terms of where we are with the migration process and as it starts. So I really would urge you to continue to get out there and to talk to your customers, to use the information that we are going to share with you guys today, to pump that out there to your customer base and really work out how we can be supporting you, and how you're able to reach out to your customers. If you need any additional assistance, we're here for you, and obviously it's in our interests to support you through those journeys. What I would say, you know, don't try and be that font of all knowledge. Just advise that, hey, look, we have people in our portfolio that can do this. Let me engage my Salesforce team for you that can help you transition this process. So with that closing remark, I just wanted to dive into the Q&A session. And I think if I hand that back to Kathleen and Tom, and obviously if there's anything coming my way, I'm happy to answer it.
All right, that sounds great. So yes, we do have a few questions in here. I think ones that, Tom, I'll just turn over to you. So what percentage roughly is our installation versus custom dev? Is that something you can speak to?
Yeah, so a couple of things. One, I want to reframe it a little bit in terms of Classic and Lightning. So as we have progressed throughout these last 4 years that Lightning has been available, in the beginning, you know, nobody was using that. And now everybody is, meaning in terms of any sort of new projects that we are doing, we are building these out in Lightning only. Now, your question about installation versus custom development, I want to parse that a little bit, because every project we do, so the smallest companies, for example, may decide to implement Salesforce on their own. And if you use that out of the box, you know, you get some, you know, the certain objects and fields that come with that. But it's such a generic platform that is used by businesses of all sizes and all industries that it basically requires customization. So when we talk about custom development, though, there are two flavors of that. There's what we call declarative, using all of the tools, the administrative tools within Salesforce to build workflows, automations, custom page layouts, types of objects, etc. That is one level of customization. But further, Salesforce supports its own programming language. So we are able to use that. We have the custom developers on staff to do that. As a general rule, we do you know, straightforward sales process, customer service processes generally do not require coding or that level of custom development. But we're really talking about doing customization for every customer. It's really the only way they're going to realize the benefits of Salesforce. So Peter, I hope that answered the question there. And then actually that's going to segue. We've got a couple of questions here around the APIs. So are there new APIs that need to be generated for customers to use Lightning, or do existing tools work just fine? To tackle that, I first, you know, when I mentioned earlier how Salesforce itself releases new versions 3 times a year, they go through extraordinary lengths to ensure that the API, as it revisions up, is 100% backwards compatible. And so as a general statement, apart from Classic versus Lightning, you know, that is true, and we see custom development, you know, not breaking as the revisions go forward. This is also true of Lightning. So meaning that if things have been developed, they won't break as we're moving forward. It's not a separate set of APIs. However, Lightning has introduced some new objects and new functionality, in which case the APIs dedicated to those will only be available, of course, by using the Lightning interface.
Tom, can I expand on that a little bit and ask you a question about, whether we would typically just replicate what a customer has from Classic to Lightning, or would we look to do additional types of work and services connected to that migration process? So perhaps, they use a package that isn't fully utilized. Would we just lift and shift that across, or would we look to do additional things there?
Yeah, thanks, Scott. This is really a great opportunity. So again, we're in the business of Salesforce projects, and whenever we first talk to a customer, whatever their initial need is, we take that big picture. We're strategic consultants as it relates to business processes, and Salesforce is simply the tool that we're using to achieve those goals. So we're always, going through a discovery process. Yes, you're looking to go from Classic to Lightning so you can stay current, not lose out on the benefits. But we're always looking to expand that and really find those right solutions, take advantage of the experts that we have on staff to solve the business challenges. And so this can quickly grow from a simple migration to new processes being developed on the platform.
We do have a question about cost. I don't know, Tom or Scott, if this is one that you want to pick up, but just in terms of expense.
Yeah, so let me start with that conversation, and cognizant that we only have a couple of moments left really before we're up on time. So general overview here: cost is relative to effort. Effort is identified from the Lightning Ready report. That report will indicate the types of challenges that an organization are going to face through this migration cycle, and will give an estimate in terms of an hourly timeline for that. Off the back of that, we can quickly t-shirt size pricing mechanisms for the end customer to give them a rough indication. And when we really start to look at Tom's last point around optimization versus just replication of Classic, there can be some differences there. So without wanting to sound like a politician, until we see that Lightning Ready report, I can't actually give you a fixed price around that. But suffice to say that obviously, there's an opportunity here to drive that conversation forward and to look at what those additional phases are to generate ongoing revenue for you guys.
Good. And the data sheet that Scott's going to be sending out that has the instructions for the Lightning Readiness report really is kind of step one, right? Yeah. To start, I think, determining that. So the last question we have, a couple of people have asked us in a few different ways, was essentially if they have Salesforce developers or a Salesforce internal team, is there any need for a partner?
Yeah, we see this quite often. We actually, it's a huge advantage that our customers have Salesforce expertise on staff, because that will speak to the maintainability and success of the projects going forward. But generally, those staff are not prepared to do larger projects. And that's when we get brought in and really augment the expertise that they have on staff, make sure that we're leaving them in a better place so they can carry that forward.
Nice, thank you. All right, it doesn't look like we have any other questions. I'm so pleased with the engagement, and really we just want to say thank you so much for taking the time to join us. Again, look for the follow-up email from Scott with these resources. So thank you guys so much. We really appreciate your time, and look for those follow-up emails. Have a great day.
Thank you.